What's going on, winners? It's your boy Loso 2.0. And today I have a special guest with me. Would you do the honors of introducing yourself?
Yeah, so just throw me under the bus, right? Right. So I'm Pauline Morris. I am a consultant anesthetist and I am a career and personal development coach. So I wear two professional hats, and believe it or not, they are quite complementary to each other. I've been a doctor for well past 20 years, don't do any maths, and I've been an entrepreneur for about 4 years. But in reality, I was coaching and mentoring for a very, very long time. And what entrepreneurship did for me was actually to take two things that I was really actually very good at and put them together in a business model. So I've taken my medical career and my inherent talent and put that together in a coaching career. And it's hard work, but it's very, very, very rewarding.
Okay, dang, medical career, 20 years. That's almost as old as me.
I'll behave.
So your medical career, is that like something you always wanted to do? You always wanted to be in the medical field when you were younger? Or?
Actually, no. I got into my medical career under perhaps what could be considered by some as unpleasant circumstances. For me, it was a pinnacle point in my life. The short version of the story is I had my daughter when I was 17.
Mhm.
So, that's a whole other podcast to talk about that. But,
Mhm.
it was that concept of here's this young girl who's absolutely ruined her life. She'll never amount to anything. And, anybody who spends time on her is just wasting their time. And what that did for me was actually spur me on. It inspired me. I wanted to create a life for my child that, bettered the one that I have. And I wanted to show her that no matter what's thrown at you, you have the power. You make the decision about what happens in your life. You are the one who instrument, you are the conductor of the orchestra of your life. And more than what I wanted for myself, I wanted that for her. And one of the, I don't want to say easiest ways, one of the ways that was open to me to do that was to become a physician. If that were to happen today, I'm sure there would be other avenues. But that was the avenue that I could pursue with consistency and persistence at the time. And it absolutely paid off. All the hard work and sacrifice paid off. So I didn't quite, and don't get me wrong, I actually love my career in medicine. And like I said, without that foundation, I probably would have never gotten into coaching. But um, it would not have been my first choice if I had lived in an ideal world. But having said that, sometimes you just got to play the cards you're dealt. And if you accept that, this could be a winning hand and don't just chuck it all in and give up,
Mhm.
you might find that you come up on top. And that's what happened to me.
Okay. So there's nothing, I mean, honestly, that sounds similar. I mean, to my sister's story. My sister actually had her daughter when she was 18, or my niece when she was like 18 years old. So, familiar with the type of story. But I do have a question because I know with her, there really wasn't much
Yeah.
of like she did have some type of support, but not really a strong support system. So how was your support system after you had your daughter? Like, was your family real supportive, or were they more like shunning?
Most of them were shunning.
Mm.
My mother, my grandmother, and my stepfather were my support system. And that my family support system. And the other thing that happened was when something like that happens to you, it's very easy to regress into your own self and to stop trusting and stop loving and just completely close yourself off. The problem is when you do that, you don't just close yourself off to the people you're worried about, you close yourself off to the entire universe and everything that the provider puts in the universe that is there for you to take.
Mm.
So what then came to me, because I still didn't close myself off, is that the friends who I lost were replaced by other friends,
Hmm.
different friends. And some of those friends have stood the test of time, and some of those friends were in my life for a reason and a season. But my support system, despite the scaffolding of my life falling apart, the foundation actually grew stronger, because it became very easy to work out who really cared about me and who was on my side. And support came from places that I could never anticipate.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's definitely powerful. That's crazy. Yeah, I already know. I mean, not personally myself. I don't have kids or anything like that. But like I said, I've witnessed it with my sister, sister-in-law.
Mm,
I see stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, that's happening. I feel like, yeah, it's just change of culture. Like you said, your support system is going to change, right? It's going to be the people that you thought were going to be there. Something happens,
mm.
that's cool, because then other people, come back into your life. So I definitely commend you for that. Now, when you started to get more into that, so you went through the whole medical field, or like the 20 years of being in the medical field. How was that for you though? Is like you said, did you enjoy it, or like how was it like? Because I know some of these medical fields, especially during COVID, it was crazy, right? So I know it was like
Yeah, yeah.
going. Well, I don't know how it was for you though. 20 years.
COVID was hard for everybody. There's no one that got away from COVID.
Okay.
Nobody got away from COVID. COVID was the great leveling playing field of all mankind. Um, and it, Going through medical school was challenging, not just because I was a single mom, but because I had to deal with the biases and prejudices of people around me. Um, but it was it wasn't hard to focus because I knew what I wanted, and that was, that was my direction, that was my focus, that was my, the support, my personal support system.
Hmm.
Going through training was also challenging. Um, I did some of my training in Barbados, where I'm from, and then I moved to the UK again in that pursuit of a different life.
Hmm.
And that presented its own challenges again as a single mom, moving to a foreign country by myself. And the reality is, as a Black foreign female in the UK training system, that had its own challenges as well. And I had to really dig deep sometimes to um, keep my place, both personally and professionally. But again, support systems often came from places that you didn't know they were coming from. It's
Hmm.
just, it's just keeping the faith and knowing that whatever it is that you're going through right now, this is not the end. This is just part of the process, it's part of the path. You just have to get over this and focus on where it is that you want to be going.
Hmm.
Not necessarily the end point, because I'm not sure there actually is an end point,
Yeah.
but focused on working towards that vision of what you want for yourself and your family and your loved ones.
Hmm.
So, when things like COVID comes along, it brings challenging issues in a different way to the profession, which again is a different podcast.
Yeah.
But did I enjoy medicine? Absolutely. Do I enjoy being a doctor? Absolutely. Do I enjoy being an anesthetist? I was made for it. There's no question in my mind. Um, but what I did learn is that it's not the only thing I could be or could do or could be good at or could enjoy professionally.
Okay. I have two questions actually. I'm sorry. One,
Go for it.
hey, we're in the podcast. I don't know why I said I'm sorry, but for one, so you're telling me you had to deal with systematic kind of like racism even in the UK too?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I've never been outside the US, so I don't know. I know it is
Mm,
here. I know it's here heavy. I
hmm.
don't know how it is like around the world, you know what I mean, everywhere else. Um, so you said, did you feel like in a way, I know you were saying that that was like a whole nother podcast, a whole other stuff that you had to deal with. But do you feel like in a way that kind of gave you an edge or like some type of, advantage, like, yo, that because this is happening, this is making me want to go harder. Did you feel like that at all or
It's not necessarily about going harder. Um, and that is something that I believe, as a Black woman, we need to actually step away from. It's not about necessarily doing more, being more stoic, more resilient, harder, stronger. It's about accepting your reality, and accepting reality doesn't mean you agree with it, and it doesn't mean you've given up. Accepting your reality then gives you the ability to make informed decisions. It gives you the ability to reflect and learn about yourself and understand where your strengths and weaknesses are and what you are going to do to move forward through this situation. So what it did for me was that it taught me things about myself. Don't get me wrong, it was incredibly frustrating and very hard sometimes. But again, all of this was a path that I needed to walk. I had to walk, because all of this is what led me to where I am right now, literally sitting here talking to you. If I
Mhm.
didn't go through that process of personal development myself, I'm not sure that I would ever make it to entrepreneurship, right? I mean, entrepreneurship actually ran in my family. My mother ran her own business, my grandmother ran her business, my great grandmother ran her own business. And I always kind of had it in my head that wasn't for me, that hard graft wasn't for me. And in a way, I was right. The hard graft isn't for me, but actually being true to myself, doing something that I enjoy, that I'm good at, that I'm highly skilled at, is a process. And it's not always obvious when we're young or when we're already somewhere that there is more that we can be doing or should be doing or even want to be doing, because often we don't know what we want. Most people don't know what they want. I didn't know I wanted to be a coach. Um, and then now I know I do, but it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You can have a great idea. You can find a niche that you can slot into and go, I can do that. And it will work if this is something that you actually want to do, not just because you think you could or you should do it.
No, that's understandable. That's definitely understandable. I like that. I like that. Now, my second question was,
Mm.
you're saying it pretty. Like, I know you're used to saying it, but you're saying it pretty fast. What type of doctor were you again?
In the US, it's called an anesthesiologist.
Oh, anesthesiologist. Okay, so the people that put people to sleep, then, right? Okay.
That's one of my roles. Yeah.
No, so you said that actually went hand in hand with your coaching business. How did you connect the two?
Okay. So um, I'll start with, as an anesthetist. As an anesthetist, you meet people when they are feeling their most vulnerable. Most doctors do, right?
Mm-hmm.
As an anesthetist, it's even more intense because you're meeting people before they have a procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't want to have surgery. Most people have surgery because they need to. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, cosmetics is a different thing, but then again, your mindset is different because this is something that you want. When somebody is coming for a procedure that they didn't expect, they didn't know, they're in a very vulnerable place. And you need to have the skills to help that person through that period. It may be a very brief time with them, but that can be life experience changing for them. So there are skills that go with that. Being able to sense people, being able to speak with people, being able to listen, being patient, understanding what the actual issues are. Because sometimes, I'll never forget once I had a patient and she was absolutely apoplectic with tears and sadness. And I made the assumption that it was about her. No, I didn't make the assumption. The assumption was made that this was about her diagnosis and about the procedure. And when I saw her and I took a couple of extra minutes and I sat with her and I said, what is it that you're worried about? And she said, my husband.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't actually worried about her surgery. She was actually worried about her husband, but nobody'd asked what she was actually worried about. And this is a key thing in coaching, not making assumptions, just asking, what is it that's worrying you? What is it that's holding you back? What is it that you're scared of? What is it that you can't put into words? that sounds counterintuitive, but it's about asking the question or not making assumptions for people. The second thing that goes hand in hand with that is the fact that being a doctor is hard. It's really, really hard. It doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Indian, Asian, male, female, gay, straight, Catholic, it doesn't matter. Becoming a doctor is hard. And it is a lot harder than it needs to be. So when I started coaching doctors. And I started coaching doctors who were struggling within their medical careers to finish their medical careers. And on doctors who weren't sure if they were going to finish their medical careers because of the process that you have to go through. And because I came from that place, I had an understanding of what that meant. And I wanted doctors to start understanding that it doesn't have to be this hard. And it's about things like acknowledging what you want, setting boundaries, deciding what you want your life to look like. So that's how these things interplayed with each other. That empathy, that willingness to listen, the willingness to help somebody solve a problem, which is what you do as a doctor, and putting that together with my own journey, my own personal experience. And as a doctor, I did things along the lines of taking me into coaching. I really enjoy teaching. So I did a lot of teacher training. I did a postgraduate degree in medical education. I really enjoyed working with people. So I mentored junior doctors and trainees. I coached junior doctors and trainees. So it almost became a natural transition. I know it doesn't sound like it when you just say doctor coach, but it was actually very organic.
Yeah, I can agree with you. Coaching, but not just coaching and me, but even sales, right, is really just more on the lines of listening, right? Trying to listen, ask the right questions. I call it the 80-20 rule, right? You should be talking 20% of the time, let them talk 80% of the time. Because a lot of times people have their own answers. You just got to kind of dig deeper by keep asking the right questions. So I definitely agree what you say with that. And I like how I see now more lines of how they connect. I'm thinking like, all right, so she's putting her, coaching clients to sleep or what's going on here. But I know now.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be happy with that. No.
All right, now I see Mal. You don't destruct. And I like how you started your niche with kind of like what you were going through, which is similar to kind of what I did in my coaching, business and sales business. But I do got to ask you then, so what made you want to take that jump, right? So like you were doing 20 years in the medical field and then you just decided like, okay, I'm now going to go into coaching. Like, was that transition? You said the transition really wasn't that hard, but like, how was it? Like, you just, hey, I quit. Like, you just got up and just walked out, or like, how was that?
Oh, no, actually, I haven't quit medicine. I am still a full-time anesthesiologist for your US listeners. No, I haven't quit at all. But like I said, this was part of a journey. It was part of a process. And it was a huge part of it was understanding who I am, what I wanted, and where I wanted to be, and how I saw myself fitting into this world that we're in. So I've worked in 4 different countries. Qatar is the 4th country that I've worked in, and bless you. Qatar is the 4th country I've worked in, but that was a process. I didn't graduate medical school and come to Qatar. I had to go through that process of working in different places and seeing different systems and how they worked, and seeing. So when I talk to my clients, and who are not just doctors now, because it's funny how you find out where people are the same and problems are the same, right? So this is what I had to work through for myself, and this is what I take my clients to. 3 questions about your career. Are you in a place? Are you in the right place? Are you in a place where you feel supported, where you want to work with these people? The institution shares the values that you have for yourself. Are you in the right job? Right? You might be in the right place, but you're in the wrong job. If you're in the wrong job, you might find yourself getting frustrated. You might find yourself trying to do things you don't want to do, trying to live up to expectations that don't match with who you are as a person. And thirdly, you could be in the wrong place and in the wrong job, right? Now, I've been in all 3 of those situations. right?
Okay.
I have been in the wrong job. I have been in the wrong place. I have been in the right job in the wrong place, right? I have been in the
Mhm.
right place in the wrong job. You know, you've got to find out. It's a small tweak, right? But it makes the difference. So that is part of my journey, finding myself in the right job in the right place. And it took me 20 years to work through this, right?
Mhm.
um, it's not a simple process. It's not an easy process. It's not a straightforward process. And then I thought to myself about the amount of energy I spent in my life working through this. And then I thought, you know what? Can I help somebody not expend that amount of energy? Can I help somebody through that exact same process? Help them through it safer, faster, with a feeling of security, with a
Mhm.
feeling of guidance, with a feeling of not aloneness. Because I couldn't find anybody to talk to any of this about. No, you're a doctor. Just do the work, go home whenever you can get home and come back tomorrow morning and do it all again and
Mhm.
forget about everything else in your life. And that's no way for anybody to live.
Mhm.
And if I found a process through it, my thinking was I can help other people find their process through it. And I can help them using the process that I used. They may not have the same outcome as me, and that's not
Mhm.
the point. They're not supposed to have the same outcome for me, but it's a process that works. And it's a process I use with all my clients, doctors and non-physicians. And within that is the support that goes with that process. How you work through, am I in the right job? How I work through, am I in the right place?
Okay. That,
So it just kind of flowed,
mhm.
really. And the business side of it was the bit that I was really scared of. And me being me, I thought, you know what? There's a whole world out there that I know absolutely nothing about, the business world. I'm going to go learn about it. So I did a master's in business,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And that gave me a further level of confidence. And I'm not saying every coach should go do a master's in business. That's what worked for me.
Mhm.
And that's what put down the foundation for me. So as soon as that was done and I felt, okay, I've got a grasp on this now, there was no holding me back.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's good. That's good. I'm enjoying all this. I'm actually enjoying this talk too as well. So it's even crazier now. Now my question is even crazier. So now you're a full-time doctor and you're running a business and you have, a child, or I don't know if you have more than one child. Um, how do you have that, what I call work-life harmony? How do you build that?
Well, here we go again, right? So again, it's about understanding what it is that you want.
Hmm.
And it's also understanding that it's okay to not have it right now.
Okay.
Okay, because this is a big mistake that people often make. They go, yeah, this is the vision for my life, and it's like the song, I want it all and I want it now. That's not how life works, right?
Hmm.
If the vision is what's in front of you, the vision is what you surround yourself with, right? You
Hmm.
sleep on it, you hear it, you breathe it, you smell it, you see it. That's how you get to it,
Hmm.
but it's a process. So this work-life balance thing, it's decide how you want to live. The way I'm living now is not the way I was living 5 years ago, and it's not the
Hmm.
way I was living 10 years ago, and it's not the way I was living 20 years ago. But
Hmm.
20 years ago, I knew I wanted to be living like this,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
I knew there was a certain point in my life where I wanted to be, where I was comfortable,
Hmm.
right? And I decided what comfortable meant for me. Now, comfortable for somebody else might mean that they go down to their basement and there's 6 cars there. Comfortable for somebody might mean they open their bank account and it's got 7 figures in it. Whatever is comfortable might for somebody else might just mean I don't have to think about what I want to eat, right? But you decide what you're comfortable. And I decided what my comfortable was, and that impacted on my professional life as well as my personal life. So work-life balance is about me doing what makes me happy. So I've got a coaching business, right? I haven't got a client list, a waiting list, right? And
Hmm.
I don't want, because that would take the joy away. I would be stressed, I would be overwhelmed. So my business is catered to the fact that I enjoy scuba diving, I enjoy playing golf, I enjoy doing absolutely nothing. I enjoy sleeping in late. I enjoy binge watching Netflix, and I'm a full-time doctor, right?
Mhm.
So that is what it looks like for me. So my work-life balance is around what keeps me happy, what keeps me grounded, what keeps me having time with my family and friends in an amount that nourishes my soul. Work-life balance is going to look different for everybody.
Mhm. Okay, I see what you're saying. I do agree with that. I would say, yeah, I definitely agree with that because like right now, it's like I'm also running like multiple locations for sales, but then I'm also so I still got my full time doing that, but I'm also doing my entrepreneurship, and then I'm been
Mm.
married and stuff too. So it's like but I'm always still grinding, but it's like something I love to do. So it's kind of don't even feel like I'm working really. It's just like that I'm doing more of the grinding right now. Now, we're kind of getting low on, time now, but so let me ask you a question then. If you had to leave the audience with one last piece of advice, what would it be?
It would be to take time to know yourself.
Mhm.
We live in a world where everyone has an opinion and are often very happy to voice this opinion on who we should be, what we should like, where we should live, how much money we should make, who we should marry. Everybody knows what's best for us.
Mhm.
And as an individual, we all have that pressure to meet societal expectations. We all have that pressure to live up to the Joneses. We all have that pressure to want to make our loved ones happy and proud of us. The problem is we never get really taught to make ourselves happy, to make ourselves number one, to be our own personal cheerleaders. So the one message I would leave everybody with is no matter what decision you make about how you want your life to be, let it be your decision. You can listen to other people, you can take advice, and so you should, because you don't know everything, right? You got to
Mhm.
talk to people, you got to take advice, you got to take things in and process them and reflect on them, and talk to as many people as you trust to have this conversation, because you can't talk to everybody, you can't tell everybody
Yeah.
your business, right? Right?
Mhm.
But then you got to look inside yourself, decide your values, decide your beliefs, decide what resonates with you, and make your decisions based on what is it, how am I going to get into bed every night and put my head on that pillow and just sleep.
Okay. That's that's a good lesson right there. Being your own cheerleader. That might be the title of this podcast. Definitely
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate you taking the time out. Now that I know you definitely, still being a doctor, doing all I appreciate you taking the time out to hop on this podcast and leave that.
Absolutely.
If anyone
Happy
needed
to do it.
okay, cool. If anyone needed any type of coaching, how could they reach out to you?
Well, the easiest way is via my website. It's easy to remember. It's actually called Doctors Caring for Doctors. So if people want to find me, that's the easiest way to find me. And I have to say, I started off just coaching doctors, but the reality is we're all people. And whilst I'm not going to say I'm not a marriage coach, and I'm not a weight loss coach or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're struggling with your career, the bones are the same. The bones are the same. So some of my clients are corporate, some of my clients are lawyers, and it's about understanding yourself first. So you understand if you're doing the job you really want to be doing. I
Mm-hmm.
had a client that left medicine and went into horticulture. You got to do what makes your heart sing. And if you're going to be working in a place, make sure it's a place that is working for you, because that's another concept we don't really get. We think we go to a place and we have to give that place everything, and all we get back is a salary. No, 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 no. You got to get something back from that place. You're spending 8, 10, 12, 14 hours of your day in that place. You got to be getting something back. Right job, right place, and it's gold.
Hey, right job, right place. That might be it. Actually, that sounds a little bit better. But thank you for going on that. I'm gonna put your. You can send me your website link so I can put it in the show notes. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that's pretty much it, really. So you guys already know the deal, man. Winners win, losers lose, and you guys are great like this. But you
Great talking to you, Carlos.